This week we're talking all about motivation. Nikki asked the question Sunday on our live Q&A about, how to stay motivated, how to get motivated, how to stay motivated, how to forgive herself when she's not keeping up with what she says she's going to do. And it's such a perfect question. I'm a big picture person. Like, I like to look at, and I was telling her that day, I like to look at my big why. Like, what's the reason for this? And Bethany, hey, good to see you. What I found this morning, it was kind of interesting. Just real quick, while I'm just chatting away, you might see my dog butt in the back corner. She is feeling a little bit better today. We just got back from a specialist and she is actually seeming to feel just a little bit better. So I'm super excited about that. It was about 4 o'clock this morning. I woke up and my first thought was, I don't want to get up today. And I don't usually think that way. Like, I'm one of those people that probably in the last year, maybe you might be able to count on 3 fingers the number of times that I didn't just leap out of bed. I'm somebody who's not just highly motivated, but I love the mornings and I'm a go person. I thought about it and I thought, I just don't want to get up today. I don't want to face the day. And it was partially because there's been a lot of stress going on with the dog. We had a big appointment today that could have gone really wrong. It was also the fact that over the last several days, I would say probably the last 4 days, I've only gotten in a little bit of movement. Not my usual, happy-go-lucky moving self, just a little bit of movement. And so I thought to myself, okay, instead of thinking about your big why right now, the big reason that you say that you want to get up and get moving, how about if we just focus on the small things? Let's just focus on some smaller things today. I recreated the sheet for you today because I wanted to just bring us back to some of the small things that motivate us. Because definitely, like the first thing on the sheet, I'm pretty sure we're going to ask about your big why, and I'm going to come back to that. But also think about, what are the things that, like, on a day-to-day basis get you motivated, make you want to go to the gym, make you want to go run, make you want to do whatever your workout is, make you want to reach those goals that you want to reach. Like, what are those little things? Like, for me, one of my little things, which is really a big thing, but it's a little thing, is that if I'm not moving a lot and I'm not doing my stretching, then I get in a lot of pain. Like, I get all gimpy and uncomfortable. That's a big why and a little why. Like, that's something that drives me. Another thing is that I know, like, we talked about energy last week. Actually, we didn't. We talked about time last week. We're talking about energy this next week. And one of the things I'm going to say about energy is that the more you move, generally, the more energy you will have. It's not true if you're training for like a Ironman or super long distance bike rides and stuff like that, because you do get tired. But in general, the more you move, hey, Allison, thanks for joining me. Thanks for joining us. But in general, the more you move, hey, Dr. Veronica, good to see you. What we're talking about, let me just regroup real quick because I just want to make sure that everybody's on the same page. Hey, Robin from Alabama. Thank you. So the sheet, I know a lot of you already said that you had downloaded the sheet for today. What I was telling Bethany and a couple of the other people who were on is that I'm someone who just naturally I'm a morning person. Like, I just naturally want to get out of bed in the morning. I'm pretty excited, kind of Tigger the Tiger kind of person in the morning. And when I woke up this morning, I didn't want to get out of bed. Like, I just really didn't want to go. Didn't want to go to the gym, didn't want to do anything. It was a mental thing. It was definitely a mental thing. But what was going on is that because I had a lot of stress and I was feeling a little bit overwhelmed, the motivation that I used from my big why, my big picture why, wasn't driving me. So it made me realize that I need to also talk about the small things that drive us. Like, what are the little things that movement does for us that makes us feel better, makes us be motivated to do the things we want to do. Movement will make you feel better, absolutely. Accomplishment, like doing what you say you're going to do, it's almost like an oxymoron, I guess, that you need to be motivated to do what you say you're going to do. But if you say what you're going to do, if you do what you say you're going to do, then you're motivated more. So it's a double-edged sword. So thinking about, like, the little things that will help you, it makes sense, right? The little things that will help you get motivated will also create the motivation. So what are some of those things? Like, what are some of the things for you that would really make you feel good about doing what you say you're going to do. I mentioned earlier, one of my things is that if I'm not doing my stretching properly, which is part of my movement, if I'm not doing my stretching, then I get in pain. Like, I have a lot of sciatic stuff that happens, and so I have to stay on my game, or else I'm going to be driven by pain. So, not that I like being driven by a painful thing, but that's something to look at, like, just moving. I did actually get up this morning, and I did actually go to the gym. It was probably the shortest time I'd ever been at the gym in my life, but I really didn't care. I was just going to go. So I counted it as a win. Got it done. So what are some of those little things that you're going to get as a win from just doing the things that you say you're going to do? Another thing that I'd like to think about, and this is one of those that I just said that I don't like to think about, but it's a good driver. It's a good driver for motivation, is what's going to happen if you don't do the things that you say you are going to do. So let's say that your motivation is that you want to lose weight, gain muscle, because not only do you want to feel better, but I know a lot of people in the group had said some of their, what their freedom was. Like, they wanted to be able to go hiking. They wanted to be able to go kayaking. They wanted to be able to play with the kids. They wanted to be able to have high energy all day. Those are positive drivers, right? Those are the things that drive us that are positive. What about the painful stuff? Where would you be if you're not going to accomplish what you want? And this really came home to me about a year ago. I don't know if y'all, I actually, quite frankly, don't think I ever really introduced myself in the group, but I'll come back to that. I'll just give you the short version. Short version is I've worked for myself almost my entire life. Several different businesses. I love running my own companies. And about a year ago, I was still running a company, hey Susan, that was an outdoor activity company. So we did hiking and biking and kayaking and camping and then lots of eating and drinking and socials and travel, like all kinds of stuff. It was tons of fun. And I'd been doing it for like 15 years. And 15 years is a long time for me. I'm kind of a 9-year kind of person, I've found. After 15 years, it wasn't what I wanted to keep doing, but I was really comfortable there. I sat down and what I wanted to do was this, what we're doing right now. This is what I wanted to do. It was time for me to make a change. So I sat down and I said, okay, if I'm not being driven, if I'm not being motivated by what I want, what if I was motivated by what I don't want, which is continuing to run a company that I loved, but I was ready to pass on to someone else. What would it look like in 5 years if I hadn't made that change? And it was interesting because it really, really was my driver for getting off my butt, getting motivated, selling the company, starting this. Like, it was my driver because I realized that if I wasn't having it's not that I wasn't having fun, I was not as excited about the company as I used to be. So if in 5 years, I was going to be even less excited, but I would still be doing the same old thing again and again. So for me, that was a super eye-opening moment when I realized how like the pain of not changing and still being in the same place in 5 years that I didn't want to be in, how that was very, very motivating. So I would like to ask you, if you don't achieve what you want, if you don't achieve your commitment or your goal, where are you going to be in 5 years? Like, generally speaking, and coming back to this, I don't like to focus on the negative, but I'm just going to say it. Generally speaking, in a fitness situation, if we're not going forward, we're sliding backwards. It's just the way it is. After about 30, your body is no longer working for you, so you've got to start working. If you start, excuse me, tongue-tied, you have to keep moving forward, or else you're going to start sliding backwards. So in 5 years, where are you going to be? So where are you going to be if you accomplish what you want, and where are you going to be if you don't, if you haven't made the changes? So I'm going to hang on for just a second. I'm going to just read what, so she's saying, thinking about what will happen, especially how it'll affect my quality of life in, say, 5 to 10 years from now. It's so true. Like, it is so true. The reality is that if we're not moving forward, we are moving backward. There's a lot of studies, and I'll post some of them. There's a lot of studies out there that are showing that if we're not consistently moving, after about 2 weeks, after, let's say you consistently move, and then you quit moving for a couple of weeks, just those 2 weeks start taking you backwards. So once again, not to motivate you by pain, but to remind you that a couple of motivations are, where do you want to be and where don't you want to be, right? So, oh, good for you, Susan, catching up while doing the laundry. I love it. I know that the other day someone on the live was doing squats and push-ups while listening. Awesome. I love it. So think about that. All right. Any questions about the whys? Because I want to talk about the big why too. So your big whys are the things like, what's going to happen in 5 to 10 years if you're not feeling good? Or what do you want? Like, where do you want to be? What do you want to be able to do? In our society, what typically drives the fitness world is that you need to lose weight to look good. Like, if you look around, that's pretty much what all the dieting books are saying, the fitness companies are saying, everybody, like, you want to lose weight to look good. The truth is that we really need to be focusing on getting to that point where feeling good is the whole reason for what we need. So ask yourself, like, what's that big why? And you've probably heard me say it before, but like, one of my big whys is that I love doing a few things. I love doing a lot of things, actually, but I love kayaking. I love whitewater kayaking, actually. I love flatwater kayaking too. I love hiking. I love backpacking. I love doing a lot of outdoor stuff. And my big, big why is the fact that I want to be able to do those things for as long as humanly possible. I was on a river last month with some friends, and one of my friends turned 70 that day. It's pretty impressive to me to be 70 years old and running a big whitewater river, because it takes a little bit. That's my driving force too. I want to be able to do all the things I love to do for as long as I possibly can. The side benefit is that if you're shooting for those things, like those big things that you want to be able to do, you're going to lose some weight. You're going to get more muscle. You're going to feel better. You're going to look better. I mean, all those things just naturally happen. So instead of just being the focus being all about look, I think it should be all about desire. And then that desire is going to trickle down into everything. So any questions about that?